An analysis of more than 100 zero participants over a 30-year follow-up period found that adults who perform 2 to 4 times the currently recommended amount of moderate or vigorous physical activity per week have a significantly reduced risk of mortality. VO2 max is one of the best predictors for mortality. I am having trouble finding the paper, but I think for every single-digit increase in VO2 max, your mortality risk goes down 8. I live with existential dread, so I took up marathon training and increased mine from 44 to 59. I'm not exactly sure how the math works out, but I think it means I'm immortal now. Is there an easy way to find your VO2 max? Got a source for this? I'm curious to learn more. 59. What's your marathon? I really struggle with VO2 max on me Apple Watch. Since February, I've lost about 25 lbs, shifted my diet significantly, quit drinking, quit smoking, and walk at minimum 10 steps a day. I've started running a bit to push cardio, but that's very much a work in progress. My VO2 max is lower right now than it was when I started. Every other metric is improving over time, except this one. Blood donation tends to decrease VO2 max, but also seems to have an independent effect to reduce mortality. Any thoughts on that? On the flip side, so many runners I talk to at work who are in their 50s have horrible knee pains, knee replacement surgeries, etc. The irony of a runner extending their life at the cost of their mobility. I think there's better ways than running. Removed. When I was younger, I would ride everywhere on me bike. Where I live, hills are everywhere and some are mega steep, so from a young age I have had legs like tree trunks, as me mum used to say. I used to mountain bike on trails and courses with insane banking and jumps until I had a mega accident after clipping the lip of the landing ramp and face-planted straight into the ground. I had a full face helmet on, but I still broke the right side of me jaw wired shut. For 2 months, eating through a straw, and completely obliterated my right arm, broke in 2 places, metal rods, and right shoulder rotator cuff ripped off, surgery. I'm trying to get back into it, but me body just says no thank you. I have lost so much strength on my right side that other than casual riding I can't do anything strenuous at all. It's just seriously depressing. I can no longer even ride a bike properly anymore when it used to be a passion. Get help from a pro. Rehab might help you slowly get back on track. The body is an amazing machine. With proper care and maintenance, you can achieve your goals. Just remember, it takes a decent amount of time before you see progress. Do not give up. I had triple bypass surgery 2 years ago. Until today, I struggle to run consistently for 30 minutes, but I do it 'cause every day I see small improvements. Keep at it. Resistance bands is a fantastic place to start if you can't afford rehab. Lots of YouTube videos showing easy stretching movements you can do. And as you very slowly regain your strength, the bands can be utilized in more ways. This motivated me to increase me Apple Watch activity goals. Removed. Nice. We have a work league, but I'm a golfer as well. Plus a dog that needs loads of running and walking. How do I reduce the risk of mortality completely? Only the Queen has an answer to this question. This is similar to a statement from the World Health Organization and researchers from a few years back. 2016, if I recall. They recommended 360 minutes of vigorous activity or 720 minutes of moderate activity per week to reduce mortality from all causes. The trend is increasingly pointing to getting more exercise. 150 minutes should be considered the bare minimum. 6 hours of vigorous activity per week is pretty wild. My body, which is in reasonably good shape normal, my Run regularly would break down if I tried to run for an hour a day with only 1 day off a week. 100 chance is I have an injury which lays me up for at least a few weeks within a quarter if I go at that pace. I realize you can mix moderate walking exercise in as well, just commenting on the duration of vigorous activity. Edit. Guys, I'm aware there are other ways to exercise. My comment as someone who likes running and has had a few injuries as they pull into middle age was intended as, whoa, that's a lot of running and not a deeper dive on exercise theory and optimization. Deleted. Isn't it insane that we once were persistence hunters who ran hours on end and now must live a primarily sedentary life? We were never made to be physically inactive. We'd run for hours but still spend the majority of our time just laying about. Peak efficiency for something we almost never do. Mad. This is a common trope, but it's not entirely backed up by scientific evidence. There seems to be archaeological proof that early humans ambush hunted, and not that much that indicate persistence hunting, and the original paper that proposed its role in human evolution made far more modest claims than have been sprayed. Or popsci. Come more persistence. Hunting. Myth or instead, Bunn believes ancient human hunters relied more on smarts than on persistence to capture their prey. In his paper with Pickering, he suggests that our ancestors would wait in brushy, forested areas for the animals to pass by. They may have even hidden in the branches of trees, since hooved animals tend not to look up. That would have allowed the hunters to get close enough to club the animal with a sharp object. If that's true, doing sedentary office work for food is just the ultimate evolution of our ancestors' relatively lazy hunting style. Well, we live much longer now, so. Plenty of people have anecdotal examples of me aunt never worked out a day in her life, and she lived to be 101, so hard evidence is good for us as a species. The funny thing about stuff like that is the person who never worked out likely did activities that increased their heart rate and challenged their muscles. They just didn't consider it exercise. People don't usually consider gardening exercise, but it counts, especially if you're maintaining a large garden or doing bigger tasks like mulching, digging holes, etc. Or Aggie. Horticulture. Tamu. Edu or Archives or Parsons or Misk or exercise. Atmel. Don't forget she smoked and ate bacon every morning. There are many variables as to what quality of life these 100 aunts lived. One of the many attributed simply to good genes. Just look at the blue Belgian cow. Their genes are designed where they naturally have insane amounts of muscle mass. Walking is considered a moderate activity. Simply walking to and from lunch or whatever basic things one does during the day can dramatically boost one's activity level. Living in car dependent places really makes extremely sedentary lifestyles the default and often requires people to carve out leisure time to dedicate to exercise. When I've traveled to other countries and used public transit to get around, it's hard to avoid getting 15 steps per day just commuting to work and back and going to restaurants to eat. City design can have a powerful impact on public health. Why is everyone missing the point of this comment? Casual walking will very likely not elevate the heart rate to the level of moderate exercise, which is what this entire post is about. For me and for most, casual walking at 3 will only elevate one's heart rate to 40, 50 if it's max. This is not the kind of exercise this study recommends. Yes, it is exercise, but it is not moderate exercise. Removed, removed, removed. There was a study about 6 years ago that tested the theory that people who merely liked to exercise lived longer, whether or not they actually exercised. The study involved both rats and humans. In the first part, they put rats in a cage with a wheel and separated the rats into two groups. Those who ran on the wheel liked to exercise, and those who did. Then they approximately bred them only within their groups to get rats who really liked it group 1 and rats who really did group 2. Then they split each of the two groups into an A group and a B group. The A group was forced to exercise and the B group was prevented from exercising. So you had Onia, liked exercise and did, own, liked it and was allowed to, Tua hated it and did, and Tub hated it and did not. Group Onia lived longest, followed by Group Om. So those who hated it and exercised lived shorter lives than those who liked it and did not exercise. They also used twin studies of humans to determine if this transferred to humans, and it did. If one of the twins exercised, both twins were assigned Group 1, otherwise they were both assigned Tube. A non-exercising twin in Group 1 was assigned as a Won. The Onubs lived longer than the Tuobs, even though neither one reported exercising. Even though neither the Van, edit. Corrected spelling. Something to keep in mind. Something like this is going to sweep up a lot of health problems and hide them under the low exercise category. It's easy to enjoy exercise if you don't have cancer, joint problems, spine problems, etc. So as with the rats, splitting the group may have been implicitly putting a lot of rats with other minor elements into one group and all the systematically healthiest into the other. They bred ps or a, kim, ki, com or entries or original or 0 or 8 or 589 or 558. Yup. People who hate to exercise might have a reason. They may be less healthy for genetic reasons and exercise is harder. Removed. A reduced risk of premature mortality. There is a 100 risk of mortality regardless of lifestyle. Immortality it is. Then. So work out a lot and get away with smoking and drinking heavily the entire time. Is there any way to account for healthy people being able or motivated to exercise more? Buying weights to work out at home was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I could never stick to a workout routine because going to the gym regularly felt like a hassle, but now I have zero excuses, so I've been lifting regularly for over a year and getting awesome results. The improvement in not just physique, but overall mood is so apparent that I'm a bit annoyed at me past self for not prioritizing it over everything else. This is a huge problem in me area with older people. They all just sit around and act old, and then they end up feeling old. I try to tell my older relatives all the time to get a physical hobby, and every time they tell me they are too old and they'll understand when I get older. Of course, there is a 70-something guy in our neighborhood who runs like 3 miles every day and he is as spry as a young chicken. Or at least that's what he says. I'll follow that guy. I'm 58. I've walked or run 22 miles in the last 7 days. I run or walk every single day. I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I definitely pay a price in soreness or discomfort or atches or pains for doing it, way more than I did when I was younger. I can see why older folks are telling you that you'll understand when you get older, but I can say that it's still just a choice. Choose to stay active, and your quality of life will be better for longer. Correlation alone is not proof of cause and effect. It can also mean that healthy people who have leisure time to exercise may exercise more than those who have pain, debilitating conditions, or with more stressful demands on their time. Question. Why say reduced mortality instead of greater longevity? Everyone is mortal and dies at some point. How long it takes is the variable. ist it? Its reduced risk of mortality past a given threshold of time, see article for details. It's indeed saying greater longevity, but it's a perfectly reasonable way to say it. It's a matter of perspective. Epidemiologists are usually in the business of assessing risk for various things, so they write it this way. Ho ho. The healthy at any weight community ist gonna like this one. Weight ist mentioned in this paper. Well, look, I'm the first on to advise exercising as much as possible. You will feel better every day. You will have a better sleep, libido, less back pain, etc. However, I don't wonder how much this is linked to the fact that having an already good health helps immensely with exercising. If you're overweight, have chronic pains, are depressed, have a physical or mental handicap, exercising is a lot harder, and you clearly have higher odds of dying earlier because of these conditions. And on top of that, typically, IQ is that the more you are affected by age in your daily life, the higher the chances that you will not be able to keep practicing as much, and the higher the chances that you will die earlier as well.